Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. Thanks for joining me today. It's super cold in February, so unfortunately we're not going to go outside today, but I thought it was a great opportunity to give you a tour of my indoor gardens and my house plants, show you what I grow inside. Maybe you'll find something that inspires you to go out and get some new plants for indoors. It's a great way to enjoy greenery when you can't do it outside. All right, let's take a tour.
So here I have a combination of plants that are looking out my northern exposure window. It also gets some sunlight from the south as well, but I would definitely call this very low, moderate light. In front we have a Rex begonia, behind that a Fernwood Mikado. So this Fernwood Mikado is a member of the Sansevieria family, which has been renamed to the Dracaena family. It takes low light, very little water, and so it's a really easy to care for plant. I would definitely recommend it for beginners. In front of that plant is the Rex begonia. The Rex begonia is incredibly beautiful in terms of the colors it has, and you can almost see some of the sheen that's on the leaves. It's silvery and shiny and just beautiful. This one's a little more finicky, so I would recommend this for some moderately experienced gardeners. There you can see the light shining off the leaves. It's just gorgeous, almost like a butterfly's wings. So over here in the terrarium, I have a regular good old-fashioned philodendron vining plant. This one can get quite long. It definitely can take low light conditions and does not require a lot of watering. So again, this is also a really good plant for a beginner. And in addition to that, I would say it's something that's easy to propagate. So if you're new to plants, that Fernwood Mikado in the back and the philodendron are really excellent choices. I think they just look so nice put all together in the corner. Groupings of plants are ideal. So here we have a Tenanthe bluebersiana. It's also referred to sometimes as a never never land plant. Excuse me, never never plant. This one you may have noticed that there's a little browning on the edges of the leaves at the bottom. And that's because this plant likes higher humidity and it's very difficult for me to achieve in the winter without an external source. So this one definitely is not for a beginner, but is much more advanced in terms of some of the needs. It does require moist soil, but it doesn't like it wet. It doesn't like it dry. So you really have to be able to gauge this plant's needs. It will take somewhat low light, so it's okay over in the corner, but it definitely will turn towards the light. This one also can be propagated by stem cuttings, but they are a little more tricky. Here's my Sansevieria trifasciata, and as I said, Sansevieria has been renamed to the Dracaena family. This originates from Africa, and it's the Laurentii version, and it is variegated. You can see the yellow on the outside, which almost gives a glowing effect when it's in the sun. This, again, is a really nice plant for a beginner. Some people call it a snake plant. Here's my little owl. He's so cute. He has some philodendron at the base, and then he's got a big plume of Aglaonema. The Aglaonema is also referred to sometimes as a Chinese evergreen, and this is uh, a specific one. The type is called stripes, and it grows in a more upright form with branches, and it will get taller than it is here, and then the philodendron will continue to vine and drape over the sides of the owl. So the Aglaonema is also a plant that will tolerate low light, and does not require a lot of care. It doesn't get super picky about the humidity. And so I also would recommend Aglaonemas to new plant owners. Here we have the Scindapsus pictus. This one is also referred to as satin pothos, although it is not a pothos. It looks a lot like one. It is a vining plant and it can tolerate low light. It is facing an east and north window, so it does get moderate light and it's quite happy there. It does not like to be over wet, similar to pothos. So if you've ever cared for a pothos, I would recommend this one. It definitely has some beautiful silvery color on its leaves and a little bit of that shine like we saw in the begonia. There's various different kinds of it as well. So this grouping of plants is fun. It also is facing the east window. I have a fiddle-leaf fig and an aloe and a cactus here, which I believe is an Easter cactus. So the fiddle-leaf fig is also called the Ficus lyrata or lyrata. It is pretty easy care. If you overwater it, sometimes you'll notice little brown or red spots on the leaves. But if you just hold back on the watering for a little bit after that, the leaves will revert to full green. And so it's a really easy plant to care for. The Easter cactus, which is what I believe is actually getting ready to put out some new blooms. If anyone knows for sure whether this is a Christmas cactus or an Easter cactus, I'd love to know because it is blooming in the beginning of February here. It's got some pretty white buds on there that you can see that are just starting to form. I'm looking forward to seeing those bloom. This one is in the Schlumbergera family, and it is fairly easy to care for. Also in this group is an aloe that I have. Aloes are fairly easy care for some people. I find them a little bit trickier. I tend to be an overwaterer. So for me, I find that I have to back off with this plant from time to time. And so you'll see when you look at this plant that there are actually some leaves on it that appear to be dried up, but it's most likely due to my overwatering it, and now they're drying up. So if you like succulents, aloes are easy care. Um, Here we have a fairy castle cactus. This one is super easy. I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, but it's in the Canthosirius tetragonus family. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it does need some good light. And then next to it, we have the Haworthia cymbiformis, which is like an alien plant, but it's so pretty because it has these tips on it that you can almost see through. This one is also a succulent and requires some good light, but it's super easy care. You don't need to water it a lot. You can take clippings from that as well and make babies. This is a terrarium where the parlor palm that I had inside of it has grown too big, so I've had to open it up. And so this is a parlor palm, which is also a very easy care plant. And then inside of it as well, I have some small aloes that are hiding beneath the palm. So those are both really easy care. They take little water and they do fine even if you don't have high humidity. So highly recommend that one for people who are just starting to get into house plants. Also, this is one of several terrariums that I have, and if you aren't sure of the water requirements of plants, you can start them out in terrariums, and they pretty much stay humid and keep themselves going on their own. So that's also a nice way to keep plants in the home if you're not sure how to take care of them. This is what used to be called the Sansevieria, which is now a Dracana metallica. I love this. I cannot wait until this plant grows more leaves. I think I got this one off Etsy. And just look at the beautiful striping of the green and white and the different shades. It's very unique. They are not easy to find, and some of them can be fairly expensive to buy. Um, but I really enjoy that one. Again, an easy care perennial that can thrive in low light and low water. So over on this side of my living room, I have a lot of different kinds of plant. This is what used to be a Sansevieria snake plant, now called Dracana trifasciata, and this is Xylanica version. You can see the strong stripes that go across horizontally that almost look like a heartbeat monitor or something like that, but or zebra stripes. They're quite striking, and it gets quite tall. I really enjoy that one. Also, it's super easy care, just like the other snake plants. Some people also refer to them as mother-in-law's tongue. Then next to that, we have this pretty grouping of three plants that have various colored leaves, which I like the contrast of. And one of them here is the philodendron Rio Brazil. And just look at the color on these leaves. The bright lime, chartreuse, and the dark green. And you can see lots of new growth on this. This is a super easy to grow plant. Again, the philodendron vines are quite simple, like the pothos, but I find these to be even more vigorous than the pothos are. And I really like the colors of the Rio Brazil version. Another easy one to propagate. Here we have a Dracana that is, I believe, the Duramensis Malacca version. Also really pretty different colors of green and white, somewhat reminiscent of the Dracana Metallica that we just looked at. It's got the mint green and the dark green. A very easy care one. I highly would recommend this type of Dracana as well to people who are beginning to take care of houseplants. It doesn't require a lot of light or a lot of water, um, so pretty simple to care for. Next to that is a Dracana, again, which was formerly Sansevieria, and this one is the black coral plant. So black coral, you can see the deep dark green that's almost black. Um, and I just love the pot that it's in with the little moon on it. So over here we have a Chinese money plant, which is the Pilea peperomioides. And this one is fun. This one is also sometimes referred to as a friendship plant because it grows little babies a lot, and then you can pull them away from the mother plant and give them away to one of your friends. It's a pretty easy plant to grow, and it's a fun one too. So I have a larger version of it that I just love as well. Okay, I believe this one is an aloe, and I cannot tell you what type it is, but I love it. It's spiky, but it's just pretty. And then behind it is a Hoya. This is a Hoya carnosa crimson princess. You can see the crimson on the stems as the new stems grow out. And then it's got some really pretty variegation on it. The leaves are waxy. It likes medium light, and it doesn't need a ton of water. It's fairly easy care. And then underneath those, I have a Dracana corn plant. And this is the Dracana fragrans family. And people call it the corn plant because it looks a lot like a corn plant, but it doesn't grow any corn. And it looks really pretty with the light behind it. Super easy to take care of. All right, over here in this corner, this is a southern facing window that I have. And you can see I have different varieties of aloe. The one on the left is aloe guido. And then I also have a cactus here that many people refer to as an old man cactus. And I think it's Cephalocereus senilis. And senilis, I'm wondering if that's Latin for senile, like an old man.
Well, thanks for joining me on a tour of all the house plants today. I didn't get all the way through because I have so many plants in my house. I hope you're enjoying the different varieties that I have and learning a little bit about ones that you might like to have in your house. And so join me for part two as I talk to you a little bit more about the other plants that we have. I certainly enjoy indoor gardening and I hope you do too. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to get notified the next time one pops up, click that notification bell. Thanks for joining me today. See ya for part two. Bye.